Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Welcome, everyone, to Tech It Out. This is episode 236. Talking about tech seems so trivial with everything going on in the world right now, but at the same time, we all just can't sit around twiddling our thumbs and watching this horrendous war play out on TV, right? Well, to my Ukrainian listeners and to those with family and friends in Ukraine, I'm hoping that you and your loved ones are safe. All right. On to Tech It Out this week. We have a packed show planned for you. We're going to start with a new and free app from Google for deaf and hearing impaired folks. After that, Kensington will join us with some new accessories for computer and tablet users. We'll learn about a brand new app called Hover that fuses a web browser with social media. And Vetster will join us, a virtual healthcare platform for pets. That's right. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out, powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. I'll tell you more about them shortly, but let's officially kick off the show with our first interview. What's the most important piece of tech in your life? It's your smartphone, of course. It's your lifeline to the people and information that matters to you personally and professionally. And thankfully, there are new accessibility features added all the time to ensure no one is left behind. And Google has just taken a huge leap forward with a feature called Live Transcribe, which we're going to learn about now with Sagar Savla. He's Senior Product Manager with Alphabet Research. Pleasure to have you on the show, Sagar. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me, Mark. This is an exciting opportunity.
Yeah, I want to hear all about Live Transcribe. So why don't we dive right in? What is this recent update all about?
So Live Transcribe is an app for the deaf and hard of hearing to be able to get real-time captions in any kind of a context and in any kind of conversation in over 80 different languages all across the world. It is an Android app that is available for free, and it provides captions that allow a person who is hearing be able to talk to somebody who is deaf or hard of hearing if either of them don't know sign language.
Wow. So this sounds like science fiction. Could you give us some sample scenarios of how it could be used?
We started hearing so many cases. The stories began with a research scientist who joined our team, Dimitri, who prefers to use captions as their main mode of communication. During meetings, they would have to schedule professional interpreters for business meetings, which made a lot of sense. They were high accuracy, but the only issue was that you had to schedule them beforehand, like usually a 24-hour notice, which meant that we couldn't really have water cooler conversations with him. Or like just an extemporaneous conversations. So that's when we started this idea that, hey, Google has had like multiple decades of research in speech recognition technology. Why don't we pull something up together so that we can have some form of a communication and captions in real time? And so then he would just pull out this phone with Live Transcribe if he's meeting somebody on the corridor and be able to have a real conversation. He started using it at home in social conversations, at dinner tables. Then we started, as soon as we launched, we started hearing so many stories from people. We heard of people using it to talk with their doctors, and we heard of people using it across glass screens, especially during the pandemic when certain like senior living homes, etc., needed very tight isolation requirements. Mm-hmm. People started using Live Transcribe to be able to talk across the glass screen because the other person could not hear, especially if they had age-onset hearing loss. There was also this viral tweet that went out from the National Health Services of UK, where a nurse started using it to be able a nurse paramedic was using it to talk to patients that they were working with from far away distance while maintaining social distancing. So the kind of conversations that this has enabled is just amazing to see across the world.
Awesome. All right. So just to be clear, Live Transcribe is a feature built into Android devices, and we'll learn what's new with this coming up in a moment. But the idea is that whether you're in person, like you are deaf or hard of hearing, and you hop into an Uber and you want to communicate with the driver, it'll help you there by showing you captions on the screen, because the microphone of the phone is picking up what the driver is saying, and it'll write out for the person who is deaf or hard of hearing what the person is saying. And it also works online. So you're engaged in a video chat, which is not uncommon, especially these days. It'll also transcribe in real time what the other people on that video call are saying.
Yes, there was a similar example of an IT expert who is in our group at Google, and they had this issue where, as they had a hearing loss, they could not really do front desk kind of work directly with customers and clients because of their hearing loss. And with Live Transcribe, even though they wanted to be able to directly talk with customers, with Live Transcribe, they were for the first time able to directly have a desk job, so to speak, because now it was very fluid to go back and forth. Awesome. With people speaking.
So you said it's an Android app, but you don't need a Google Pixel phone in order to do this. It'll work with any Android-powered device.
Yeah, Live Transcribe is available on a lot of Android phones already pre-installed, but we also are available on the Play Store and can be installed directly from the Play Store for free on a 7-year-old Android phone. It was an intentional decision to make it so widely accessible because we feel that communication is a human birthright, and having access to communication creates a level playing field of opportunities, especially for the deaf and hard of hearing that are often faced with extremely high unemployment rates, for example.
Again, I love when technology can help enhance and enrich your life, and that goes for anyone. So I love the accessibility features, especially when a company like Google takes it to the next level. Now, Sagar, it would be remiss for me not to ask for all the iPhone listeners out there if this would ever come there. I know there are some Google services that can be used on iPhone. I'm an Android user myself, but is Live Transcribe that could ever see it on iOS?
Yes, we are definitely open to it. We believe it should be available on any form factor that a person might have. And so we are definitely working through it, but I don't have any specific plans to share as of now.
Fair enough. We are chatting with Sagar Savla. He's Senior Product Manager with Alphabet Research. We're learning about Live Transcribe, which has been around for a little bit, but we're going to learn about a brand new feature that just launched on March 3rd, which happens to be World Hearing Day the other day. So we're going to learn what's new. But before we get to that, is Live Transcribe related at all to Google Assistant's interpreter mode that's used for translating different languages? I uploaded a video to YouTube of me interviewing my then 91-year-old uncle, he's now 93, who speaks 7 languages, and showing how this works. It's like magic. Is it similar, or it's a completely different application altogether?
It is similar and a bit different. But first of all, kudos to your uncle. Being such a polyglot of 7 languages is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. And he loves technology.
Yes. Yes. So in terms of interpreter mode, that Assistant has the same speech recognition technology that powers Google Assistant's interpreter mode is what is used for Live Transcribe as well. This provides really high accurate transcription in whichever language you're speaking in over 80 different languages. One thing additionally that Assistant interpreter mode does is translate between 2 languages. Live Transcribe intentionally does not focus on translation because our goal was to be able to continue transcription in the same spoken language that is happening in that context. We have built in similar features in the Google Translate app that allow you to do the same kind of an experience on a phone, where it can translate between 2 languages.
All right, let's hear now what's new with Live Transcribe that was just launched last week.
Yes, I'm really excited to talk about this. We mentioned this in our last I.O. Last year.
That's your developer day. Just to be clear for everybody, that's I.O. is your developer conference, right?
Yes, I'm really excited to talk about it. Last year at Google I.O., we mentioned that we are working on this new feature called offline mode. And I'm happy to say that we are now launching this and rolling it out to the world. This allows people to be able to use Live Transcribe in a bunch of different languages directly on their phone without needing internet. This allows for scenarios like when you're in a basement without internet, or when you are in a different place that does not, like in the woods, for example. It also allows you to make sure that you have seamless conversations as you're walking away from your home Wi-Fi network to your parking lot and outside.
And it doesn't incur any data costs if it's not using the internet.
That is correct. Right. It does not use any internet. It is cheaper in terms of data consumption, as well as it is faster, a tiny bit faster, because our servers are already quite fast.
Yeah, for sure. So this is all done on the device itself.
Yes.
Is this something you need to enable, or is it by default available offline as well?
So as we roll out for certain devices that are powerful enough that can do the full speech recognition completely on device, we do it by default. But for certain other devices, we will give a prompt to the user that, hey, there is a new feature available if they would like to enable it. Our hope is that as we progress this technology in some amount of time, we would be able to make it default and available for a lot more phones.
Before we wrap up, Sagar, what kind of impact have you seen this technology and this new feature? How have you seen this for the deaf and hard of hearing community?
It has been just miraculous since we launched it. We initially thought that this would be useful for a few set of people. It would be very important for them, but it would definitely be useful. But as time has gone by in the past couple of years since launch, we have started hearing so many stories, especially with the stories that I mentioned around the pandemic. But there's this particular aspect that it has helped in terms of situational hearing loss. So we traditionally believe that, the deaf and hard of hearing people might be people who are either born deaf or maybe have age onset hearing loss. But what we find often is that even fully hearing people might have situational hearing loss, like when they go into a noisy cafe or a noisy bar or in traffic scenarios, and they want to be able to get captions for whatever conversation they are having. A similar example happens during the pandemic when you're trying to talk to your cashier beyond a glass wall, that is for safety reasons. This allows you to be able to have a similar fluid conversation without any friction.
Mm-hmm. Sagar Savla, great to chat with you. Senior Product Manager with Alphabet Research. Congratulations on Live Transcribe, now being available in offline mode. Where could our listeners learn more?
Well, of course, you can always Google the word Live Transcribe and that'll work. But in your new Android phone, just go into the Settings app and into Accessibility and you should find Live Transcribe there.
All right. Sagar, thank you again for your time. All the best.
Thank you, Mark.
When we return, the hottest new accessories for your laptop with Kensington. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out, powered by ASUS. For those in search of incredible. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. And that includes its line of award-winning laptops and desktops and accessories. Visit asus.com/US/radio to check it out. That's asus.com/US/radio. And speaking of accessories, let's kick off our interview with Kensington. Whether you're using your laptop for work or play, chances are you've been using it a lot more over the past couple of years, whether it's working or schooling from home, you're maybe streaming TV shows and music, playing games and so on. And so you might consider some computer accessories that can extend the functionality and longevity of your beloved laptop. Joining us from Kensington is Yuji Wakabayashi. He is the Regional Product Manager for the US and Canada at the company. Thank you for your time, Yuji. Good to chat with you.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me. Great to be here with you today.
So before we talk about some of your big announcements coming out of last month's Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, tell us a bit about the company, Kensington. You guys have been around for a long time.
We have been around for a long time, 40 years, in fact, that we're celebrating this year. So awesome. we are a part of a larger company called ACCO Brands Group, who actually acquired us back in the 80s. I don't know if you're familiar with the ACCO Brands Group. ACCO Brands actually operates 45 brands globally. Some brands that you may recognize are Hilroy, 5-Star, Mead, Swingline at a glance. So those are more of your office products and school-based products. So Kensington is actually the tech side of ACCO Brands. And we actually also acquired PowerA, which is a gaming accessory brand. We have a range of products in various categories. We're probably most well known for our cable lock and lock slot technology, though, because that lock slot even today is included on a lot of electronic devices like monitors, PCs, hard drives, printers, pretty much anything electronic and high price that you kind of want to lock down when you're in the office. Even with the locking category, we've expanded and modified that as time goes on. And actually, we've even come up with innovative designs to lock down devices that traditionally don't come with lock slots. Like, a lot of Apple products don't typically come with that lock slot, as well as the Surface Pro doesn't have any kind of lock slot. So we developed a specific lock to lock that device down as well.
So let's now talk about some of your biggest announcements out of CES. I understand you've got rugged cases and laptop risers and all that. And just for our listeners, so they know, for pricing, be sure to check out kensington.com for the latest in that, because we're not going to mention them during this interview. Plus, some of these items aren't out yet as well. So yeah, talk to us about some of the highlights from CES.
Sure. So this year we launched our rugged case for the Surface Pro 8 because we've always had cases for Surface devices, but as they change, we also have to change our case. So Microsoft launched the Surface Pro 8, so we then in turn launched our rugged case. Good thing about our rugged case is that you can still use the kickstand even though it's in the rugged case, as well as it has a spot for the pen and a tether. You can hold it either via a hand strap or a shoulder strap that's included. And we also have a strap that kind of locks down the type cover, so it's not kind of flopping around as you're walking around with that. And then also we introduce a Cac Reader Case, which is basically the same rugged case, but we've integrated a Cac Reader, or a common access card, as they are called in the industry, which is really prevalent in the enterprise and government space. So essentially it FIPS compliant, so it fits with their second authentication in that space. And then with the laptop riser is something that we co-developed in partnership with Microsoft to fit in their Design for Surface program. And essentially what that's meant to do is to take users who use that laptop, solely their laptop, as their working station, and they don't use an extra monitor, for instance, and really just have this laptop riser as their workstation. So it has an adjustable platform for you to put your laptop to ensure that your monitor is at eye level, and then has a spot underneath for a docking station so that you can plug all your peripherals like your mouse and keyboard, and it has a hook on the back for you to hang your headset on, because every day we're always on con calls these days, so you want a place to stow away your headset when it's in use.
Yeah, and also for gamers who like to don a headset to chat with their buddies online. Exactly. Trash talk. But speaking of docking stations, I think Kensington also had something in that space coming out of CES, right?
Yes, we did. So we launched the 5750, which is the first Thunderbolt 4 dock that's available under the Design for Surface program. It's actually a dock that we co-developed with Intel when they wanted to launch Thunderbolt 4 technology last year. And this year, they actually were showcasing the CES Innovation Showcase for that dock. So we also had that on display, but we decided to take that dock and put it through the Design for Surface program to get it certified, because we knew Microsoft was going to be coming out with a Thunderbolt 4 device. So we wanted to make sure that there was a Thunderbolt 4 dock to be compatible with Microsoft devices.
All right. And for those listening, Thunderbolt is a connection type on the side, usually of your laptop. I think it's compatible with USB-C, right? It's a little slit for faster speeds, and it can do data transfer and give power to accessories, and even visuals as well, right? Like you can connect it to a monitor too.
Correct.
We are chatting with Yuji Wakabayashi. He is Regional Product Manager at Kensington. As I hinted at in my intro, a lot of people are still working at home, or it's a bit of a hybrid or something. Does this change your product lineup at all?
That's a really good question, Mark. And I'll be completely honest with you. Kensington has always been a company that's offered, products that you need to work from home and to keep you, to have the best possible setup from an ergonomic standpoint to always keep you productive. The problem is that nobody really knew that you needed all these products to be comfortable working from home, or they didn't have this stuff. But typically at the office, when you're at the office, you might have this stuff, but when you have your home set up, chances are most people didn't have this stuff, so they weren't really prepared. But we were always a company that had all these products even before the pandemic started.
Yeah, and I've often written in articles to encourage people not to work on their laptop, reclining on a couch or sitting at a coffee table or at a kitchen island. I know you got to make do with the space that you have if you've been forced to work from home, but not good on your back and your neck and your eyes, and think about your environment for sure. So obviously, if people want to see this, then they can go to kensington.com.
That is correct, Kensington.com.
Okay. All right, Yuji, thank you so much for your time. Yuji Wakabayashi from Kensington. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Mark.
You're going to be the first to hear about a new app called Hover that fuses a web browser with social media. Learn all about it when we return on Tech It Out.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. There are apps for browsing the web and there are apps for social media engagement. But what about combining the two? Well, this is the premise behind Hover, spelled HVR, available now as a free download for your iPhone, iPad, or Android device. Joining us to tell us more is Hover's CEO and co-founder, Nelson B. Thal. Hi, Nelson. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So why don't we dive in, Nelson? At a high level, tell us what Hover is all about.
Well, Hover is a new mobile browser that's social. It's a blend of the best features of social media and browsing to make it easy to discover and discuss the web all in one place.
So it sounds like it's a convenient way of managing both tasks, which is usually separate, right? You're on the web, you see something interesting, then you open up your social media platform and engage with your circle of friends or colleagues or what have you. So is that the idea? Is that fusing these two activities into one platform?
Exactly. We found without Hover, if you're surfing and you want to discuss an article or a product with just one person or a community, you're copy pasting or sharing links to countless other social apps or to a DM or email. And with Hover, we've included a full suite of social features like home feeds, like commenting, right into the browser. So you can share and discuss all sites in context without opening a handful of apps or other tabs.
Since this is radio, perhaps walk us through how it works and what it looks like. So say I'm on a website, as you said, like I'm reading an article that I find compelling and I want to share it with my friends over social media. How would that work then?
Hover makes it really easy to share and discuss that page. All you have to do is tap the create icon at the bottom middle of the screen, and you can quickly post comments, pictures, or more right there on any site for your followers or a group to see. You can make your comments public so anyone visiting that page in Hover can join the conversation too. You have a home feed and can follow other people and your favorite sites, and you end up receiving this beautiful curated web just for you.
All right, so you're not writing on the page itself, right? Like your words or anything like I've seen some browsers let you do, like annotate and all that. So it's more of like a segregated little area that is just below that article, for example. Is that fair?
You can think about it as a new layer of conversation on top of every site. So it slides up, the conversation layer slides up from the bottom like a drawer, like a transparent drawer over every web page. And then that page's discussion exists there.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really great idea. Is this for mobile only, Nelson? What about those who use a computer to browse the web and go on social media?
Right now, Hover is mobile only, but we will be in desktop in the future. But for now, we're focused on Android and iOS.
Okay. Again, iOS is at the App Store. It's a free download. Just spell HVR in your search window, and that'll download Hover to your device. And then the Google Play Store is for Android devices. We're chatting with CEO and co-founder of Hover, Nelson B. Thal, based out of Toronto. Now, obviously, Nelson, the success of a platform like Hover is really sort of hinged on how many people will use it, right? Is there an easy way for those who use Hover to spread awareness for the platform, to get their friends and family engaged?
Yes, all Hover users can connect their contacts and invite their friends to join right in the app. Also, websites can sign up as Hover site partners and earn commissions and a 50% revenue share from the platform. Site partners can invite their entire audiences on other social networks using these special links, and that's helping create awareness too.
So how would those websites make money exactly? Is there like a fee for Hover? And if not, how else would they monetize that traffic?
Hover is a free app for the user to download.
Okay.
But Hover makes money from premium services that we offer websites. Imagine if you have your site and you have 1,000 people talking about a page that you just published on Hover, you'll want certain community management capabilities to that space. And depending on the analytics and insights you want to gather on the conversations, there's different premium packages and services that we offer to publishers. And in addition to that, we also have sponsored content throughout the app. And the interesting thing about the way that we are approaching advertising around the platform. So think about, you'll be seeing advertising in these conversation layers on sites as well as in your home feeds, but we don't gather user data to power this ad network. We only use the context of the websites themselves. So think you'll see a food ad over a food site instead of a food ad because Mark likes cooking.
Okay. Are you sure that the websites, though, would be good for sort of Hover selling that ad space instead of them making the revenue from an ad on the native site, if you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So the beautiful thing is Hover is not removing any advertising from their native sites. And in fact, our browser is an incredible champion for websites. The goal of Hover is to be a phenomenal partnership, really, between the platform and creators at the places they own their sites. So if publishers sign up to be site partners, they literally are partnered with the platform. 50% of our revenue goes to them, and we're building an incredibly secure and non-invasive place for people to experience the web in a much more community-centric, social way.
And speaking of social, Nelson, and at the risk of playing devil's advocate, if you're on a website like an article, as I mentioned earlier, there's often a comments section, so other people can say what they think about that piece and engage with other readers. How would Hover be different?
Well, traditionally, comment sections are very fragmented. Many sites will have a different type of comment section than another site, and participating in that conversation really is a fragmented experience. One of our goals is to include the common feature sets that we are experiencing in other social places, like even YouTube, for example. You're able to discover the content that you may be interested in. You're able to follow the content and subscribe to creators that you're interested in. So we look at this, social experience on the web as a much more holistic experience than just these fragmented silos of comment engines across different sites. You can go to hover.world, that's hvr.world, to learn more and download.
All right, so simply hvr.world that you can type into your web browser, and that could be Hover, but then you already would know about it. And then you can read about the app there and download it, I'm sure, to your mobile device. Nelson B. Thal, thank you so much for your time. Congrats on the launch of Hover, and I wish you much success with it.
You're welcome, Mark, and thank you.
Hey, do you love your pets? Of course you do. When we return on Tech It Out, we're going to catch up with Vetster to learn about that virtual health platform for dogs and cats. We'll be right back.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Check it out. Hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out, powered by ASUS, the company that creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. And that includes its award-winning laptops like the VivoBooks and ZenBooks, Chromebooks and StudioBooks, and ExpertBooks as well. Head over to asus.com/us/radio for more info. People seem to love when we have pet-related segments on this program. Obviously, there's a lot of dog and cat owners out there who tune in, and I myself am an animal lover as well. So I wanted to invite Vetster back onto the show. We've got on the line Karis Goodall. She's Chief Operating Officer for the platform, to talk with us not just about Vetster, but also the need for more women to fill IT roles in the country. A timely discussion, in fact, with International Women's Day coming up on March the 8th. Thanks for joining us, Karis.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Great to speak with you.
Yeah, likewise. All right, now before we talk about how to get more women in IT roles and sort of this void that seems to be there, it's getting better, if I'm not mistaken. But before we get to all of that, let's chat about Vetster. Give us the 101, if you will.
The 101 on Vetster is that we are a veterinary telehealth platform that connects you with a licensed, top-rated veterinarian in your area to do an online video or text appointment. And so this is really great for those questions like, is this normal? Or I'm not sure what to do next, where you can easily, quickly connect with a veterinarian to deal with all of your pet needs.
All right. So we're getting used to that, I would argue, because of the pandemic, that we're now virtually visiting physicians for us, for humans. So this is the same idea that you can have a face-to-face through your phone or your tablet or your laptop, or as you said, over text if it's more convenient, to chat with a licensed veterinarian.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And, similar to how you would have an online conversation with your doctor, it's the same experience with your veterinarian. And when you think about a lot of the conversations you would have with the veterinarian in your clinic environment, you're really advocating for your pet. You're describing the changes in their behavior, maybe an issue that's going on. That's the exact same conversation you're going to have with your vet online.
And probably less stressful for the animal as well, who maybe does, associates a negative experience with a vet clinic. And when you pull in, they don't react very well.
You've got that exactly right. I myself am a cat owner, and getting her into a crate, never mind a car, is very stressful for her. So keeping her at home and being able to get her the care that she needs is really convenient. I can do it whenever I want. I can do it in the middle of my workday if I need to.
Sure, I got that. And so maybe walk us through a sample scenario. You've got a cat or a dog, or I'm sure you support other pets as well, and they just don't seem right. So what happens? Is it an app? Is it a website? How do you book an appointment? Is it on demand?
It's a great question. So you can go to vetster.com, or you can download our mobile app for iOS or Android. And from there, you're going to be asked a few questions about your pet to set up a pet profile. To select a vet, it's a marketplace. So you can pick your vet based on your unique needs. Whether that's price point, whether that is your availability and schedule, but also the vet themselves. So you can look through vets to find one that resonates with you and who is licensed to practice in your area. Our vets are also rated by all of their clients. So you can also look at their top rating. I'm really proud to say most of our vets are 5 stars and really deliver an amazing experience.
Right. So you may see a vet that specializes in birds, for example, or someone that's been referred to that vet by a friend or a family member. But do they need to be in your area if this is remotely done?
That's a great question. So vets are typically licensed at a provincial or state level. We have vets practicing in every state and province across North America, as well as now in the UK, we're proud to say. So you can find a vet not only locally, potentially in your city even, but it really doesn't matter. As long as they're licensed to practice in your area, they can help you.
Okay, got it. Now, I think the obvious question is what happens if you need to see a vet in person? You know, you need surgery or I think medication you might be able to handle. Can you talk us through that part?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really common question that we get asked. When we think about it, we like to say internally, you need 3 vets. You need your in-clinic vet who's going to help you with vaccinations, dental care, maybe some of those surgeries like spay and neuter are common. You need to know where your ER clinic is so that if something urgent does happen at 2 a.m, you know exactly where that you can go. Right. We also recommend you have your telehealth vet. So that's somebody who can answer your day-to-day questions, who if something pops up while you're traveling or while clinic hours are closed, or even you're just not sure if you should go to the emergency clinic yet, you can talk to a Vetster veterinarian and they're going to be able to provide you with that advice. You also hit on prescriptions. That's a really great thing. Depending on the state that you're in or the province, if it is possible to have prescriptions by law, it is a regulated industry. You can also sometimes get those prescriptions filled through Vetster as well.
Okay, and then they're delivered to your door?
That's right. Okay. Delivered to your door or sent to your human pharmacy.
Got it. Human pharmacy, I like that. We are chatting with Caris Goodall. She's COO at Vetster. This is a virtual or telehealth platform for pets. And then before we talk about our other second topic, Caris, how much does Vetster cost? You did say that you can pick and choose your vet and they may have a different price between them, but is there a rough idea you can give us?
Yeah, the average appointment ranges between $50 and $70, depending on where you are. Some vets, if they're specialized, or maybe it's, a holiday weekend, as an example, you may see some fluctuation in that price. But on average, you're looking between $50 and $70 for an appointment.
And that seems comparable to an in-person visit, no?
That's correct. Depending on where you're going and what's happening in your clinic, certainly it's comparable. Our vets set their own pricing. So it is not set by Vetster. Our vets set their own pricing, to reflect their services and skills and the appointment type that you're going to have. What our clients like about Vetster is that there's cost confidence. So you're going into your appointment knowing exactly how much it's going to cost for that appointment. There's no upselling. There's no additional services being provided. So from that perspective, it really helps pet parents to know exactly how much they're going to spend in that moment.
I like transparency. When we return with Caris, we're going to chat International Women's Day, how to get more women involved in tech-related jobs. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
We're chatting with Caris Goodall, Chief Operating Officer for Vetster. This is a telehealth platform for pets. That's right. So let's shift gears now, Caris. While there is more gender diversity than in previous years, I'd argue, there's still a ways to go. What can governments and businesses, universities do to encourage even more women to pursue careers in the tech space?
It's a really great time to be talking about this overall. Like you mentioned, we are seeing some momentum and some movement, but I'd argue that it's not enough. And I think partly that's because while we're making some advances in encouraging women to come into those STEM engineering type roles, in the workforce, you have a lot of people who that ship has sailed for them. They're not going to go back and get a formal education.
Right. Upskilling or reskilling.
Exactly. And that may not be something that's available to them. So when we think about this challenge, the numbers actually aren't bad, to what you highlighted. 40% of the workforce in technology is women. So we already have really good gender parity at that level. The challenge becomes that when you drop down and specifically look at technical roles, it drops down to 27%. And if you look at leadership roles, it drops down to 13%.
I was just going to say, what about the executive level?
Exactly.
Well, good to see you're bucking the trend, being COO for Vetster.
Thank you so much. I think I'm a good example of that non-traditional path. I am not technically trained in any way. I actually came up through communications and marketing before I moved into operations. And what I've learned and what I'd like to challenge our community to look at is redefining what it means to be a woman in tech. Technology is now ubiquitous. It's been democratized across every department. Whether you were in a non-technical role like marketing, HR, customer service 10, 15 years ago, now you use technology every day. You probably build new tooling and new processes within your business. You have hands-on technology, and you don't need to know how to code to actually build product and new solutions for your organization. People are already doing this, but because we look only through the lens of STEM, I'd argue that we're also not addressing the broader issue of being exactly as you mentioned, being able to upskill people, being able to get on-the-job training, but also then mapping funding for new business ideas based on that rather than on a formal education.
That's all great advice. And yeah, for those listening who maybe feel like they're stuck in their role at a company and they want to climb the corporate ladder, get a better job within the same organization, is to maybe push for some reskilling and upskilling. They're already an employee. They already know the culture, and hopefully they'll find that those in power are open to that idea instead of hiring from outside of the organization. I guess, Karis, just before we wrap up, why do you think gender diversity is important?
It really comes down to diversity of thought, culture, background, and being able to progress in a way that is inclusive for everyone. If you work in the technology industry, you are ultimately building solutions for everyone. And you don't necessarily know who they are on the other side. If you only build solutions for people who look like you, think like you, you're not being inclusive. When we look at Vetster, we think about every feature, every button, every interaction, and we think about it not just for the advocate pet lovers like us, but we think about accessibility needs. We have to think, really diversely and holistically about the problem. And the only way that you can do that is if you have a diverse group of people, certainly across gender, culture, race, and more, coming to the table and really helping to bring that forward.
I love that. It's great. Yeah, representation matters. So where can we learn more about Vetster?
You can head to vetster.com or download our mobile app. It's really simple to set up your free account and then select your vet. And if you'd like to get started with 25% off, you can try Get Vetster 25 when you set up and book your appointment.
Oh, thank you. Get Vetster 25 as a promo code. Fantastic. Karis Goodall has been our guest, COO for Vetster. Thanks so much for your time. I always enjoy our chats. So keep up the great work. And I hope 2022 goes really well for you.
Thanks, Mark. Great to talk to you.
I've mentioned ASUS throughout the show. They're the title sponsor for Tech It Out, ASUS.com. They have fantastic laptops and other accessories. And speaking of computers, I also wanted to thank Western Digital for their support on this weekly program. Of course, Western Digital is the parent company to brands like WD and SanDisk. These are backup or storage solutions that are very critical in today's day and age, especially for all those people working from home, where you're working remotely on a laptop, maybe in coffee shops or airport lounges and hotel lobbies and all that. You definitely want to have an affordable but reliable backup solution, not just the cloud, but something locally as well that does not require an internet connection. I love my external SSDs or solid state drives. So check out westerndigital.com. You'll see all the sub brands there like SanDisk and WD and all that. So make sure you back up your important files on a regular basis. Thank you for tuning in to Tech It Out, everyone. I'm wishing you all a great week ahead. If you're on social media, drop by and say hi on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. It's Mark Saltzman. Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. Bye-bye, everyone. Chat with you next time.